So you're currently in your 20s or maybe even your 30s, and there are a few things that you want to know. What financial or money goal should I be achieving? Am I even on track? What's everyone else doing? Well, don't worry, because in this video we're going to be talking through some financial or money goals that you might want to consider achieving in your 20s. Now, as a quick disclaimer, I'm not exactly going to be telling you what you should be doing and whether these goals means that you're successful or not. I'm really just here to give you some food for thought and for you to understand maybe what kind of goals you might want to think about achieving in your 20s or even your 30s. And also remembering that everyone's circumstances are different, so this is really just going to be guidance based on my personal experiences and how I think you can really just set a foundation for yourself. But at the same time, I'm also not a financial advisor, so remember to always be doing your due diligence and your own research. Yeah, Auntie V, I'm not even gonna lie, I've been struggling with my finances, so the more guidance I can get, the better. So the first financial goal that I think you should be achieving in your 20s is really to just start educating yourself around personal finance. Now, what I mean is actually starting to build knowledge so that you can understand the basics of personal finance, and really that will help you figure out exactly where you are on your money journey and where you want to get to. So when I'm talking about building knowledge, one thing that you can do is, of course, you can start reading books around personal finance, and in the description below I do have links based on my favorite books. So Rich Dad Poor Dad I think is a really good starting point, and also if you find that you're in debt, then the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey is a really good starting point as well. Now, I know not everyone loves reading physical books, but you can also just listen to books as well, so I think Audible is a really good option. Again, I've got that link in the description below, and I think that's a really good resource if you just like to listen to materials. So just figure out which is best for you. Do you prefer to read physical books or do you prefer to listen to them? I would pick my preferred option and then start reading or listening as much as possible. The other thing, of course, you can do is use online content. So for example, you might decide to watch YouTube videos, which obviously if you're watching my video, then hello, remember I've got a few videos around personal finance, so feel free to check that out. But then also there are other things like listening to podcasts, and I will tell you that I absolutely love podcasts, especially when I was commuting to work. I used to listen to podcasts all the time, so definitely check them out. There are a few podcasts that you can probably search, even if you just search about personal finance or money or, you know, different investment options, then you'll definitely find something. Now, if you want to get started with personal finance and you prefer YouTube videos, I do actually have a video talking about personal finance basics for beginners, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. I will link that up here for you and in the description below. And if you're liking this content so far, then make sure to give me a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel. And if you're new to my channel and you want to know a bit more about money, careers and mindset, then feel free to subscribe to my channel too. So really the choice is yours, but there is just so much material online, so definitely take advantage of that. The second financial goal that I think you should be achieving in your 20s is to start budgeting. Now, for me, most of you will already know if you're subscribed to my channel that budgeting is really a core foundation, and it's just something that you really just need to start doing, guys. And I know a lot of you do really enjoy my budgeting videos, but I know some of you still aren't budgeting, so really make sure you do it, because again, you want to be able to tell your money where to go and what to do. And I actually posted a quote by Tony Robbins on my Instagram, so definitely follow me there if you haven't already. But basically the quote said, you either master your money or on some level money masters you. And that's exactly why I keep talking about budgeting, because if you don't really have any control of your money and you're not able to master your money, then in some way your money is likely to master you. And I always think it's interesting when people say, oh, if I had more money, then I'd be able to actually save and start investing. But guys, if you can't already handle the money that you already have at £30,000, then how are you expecting to handle an income of about £300,000? B, it's all right. I already do a budget. I just do it in my head. Now, let me tell you, the one thing I would say is, unless you actually have a machine in your head and you are so used to budgeting already on a spreadsheet that you can understand exactly where your money goes, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to understand exactly where every penny of your income should be going. So for me, guys, the one thing I would say is to just write it down. It really doesn't take too long, and once you've done it a few times, it will just feel like autopilot, and it'll probably take you less than 10 minutes to do a month. Now, if you are new to my channel, I do already have a few budgeting videos that will help you get started, and I also have my weekly or monthly budgeting template that you can use. So of course I will link all of those in the description below. The next financial goal that I think you should be achieving in your 20s is to start saving at least 10% of your income. Now, for me, I don't actually think 10% is going to be enough when it comes to retirement and things like that, but I do think it's a really good start, especially if you're really struggling to save money or you've just never saved money before. So I do think you should really start to increase it if you can. So if you're able to maybe start saving 20-25%, that would be great. And if you're able to save even more, then that's amazing, especially because I try to save at least 70% of my income. And even if I do increase my expenses, the lowest I would probably want to start saving is about 40%. But again, that is just me personally, based on my goals and based on my personal circumstances. But I would really be just trying to save as much as you can. So really, that's going to be linked to spending less and saving more. Now, am I telling you just to start saving 100% of your income and just not have a life? No, of course not. However, I do think you should be saving a proportion of your income, because if you're just spending your whole paycheck, then what are you going to do 10, 20 years down the line when you have a lot more responsibility and you have less money to save? To save or to spend? So really, now is the best time to start building those habits, especially if you don't have a lot of dependence or you don't have a lot of responsibility. Now, if your circumstances are completely different and it's really difficult for you to start saving money, then you may want to start thinking about increasing your income so that you can save more money. But maybe if you're in your 20s and you don't really have a lot of responsibility, and maybe you're even still living at home with your parents' house, guys, now is the time to save. And the reason why I'm trying to get you guys to actually build that habit is so that you can do other things with that money. Now, you're not only just going to be saving to save, but I would want you to start saving so that you can maybe either start paying off your debt, maybe you want to start saving up for your emergency fund, or maybe you even want to use that money to start investing. But really start to build those habits now, because I'm telling you, your future self will thank you for it. And if you do want to learn a bit more about saving, I do actually have a video talking about how you can start saving more money in 2021. So of course, I will link that up here for you and in the description below. The fourth financial goal that I think you should be achieving in your 20s is getting rid of and avoiding high interest debt. Guys, some of these debts are absolutely skinning you alive, and I keep banging on about it, but I will still keep doing it until all of us are debt free when it comes to any form of high interest debt. So things like your credit cards, maybe it's even your car loans, or maybe you've even got personal loans, guys. Try to pay them off as quickly as possible. Now, of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't force you to pay off your debt, but really, if you don't want to be stressed about paying all these bills and actually making all these payments, and in case anything happens, then really you should be avoiding high interest debt as much as possible. And if you find that you can never ever pay the balance off your credit card, then please, guys, get rid of it. Break it, do whatever you want, but get rid of it, because it's really not doing you any justice. And I know that we're in a society now where we literally just finance everything now. So we're financing our clothes, our cars, our furniture, and everything else. But guys, please, again, this is a consumer mindset, and this is what businesses want you to do. They want you to finance those because they're going to be getting rich and then you're going to be getting poor. I really need a new jacket. Oh, there's a buy now, pay later option. Sign me up. So please avoid high interest debt like the plague. Now, if you're currently in debt, then please don't worry. I actually have a video talking through how you can actually start to pay off your debt very quickly. So of course, I will link those in the description below for you. The next financial goal that I think you should really be working on is starting to build an emergency fund. Now, whether that emergency fund is 3 months or 6 months or even a year is really up to you, but you really want to start building that emergency fund as quickly as possible. And the reason why I say that is because you have no idea what the future holds, and you have no idea what can happen. So for example, if your car breaks down, or maybe something happens in your house, or maybe you even lose your job, that emergency fund is going to prevent you from getting into debt. And for me, it's really just having that peace of mind, knowing that if anything does happen, it's really just going to be an inconvenience rather than a total disaster. Now, again, if you really want to know how to start saving for your emergency fund, don't worry, Auntie V always has you. So I do have a video on how you can start saving for your emergency fund. So of course, I will link that up here for you and in the description below. So the sixth financial goal that I think you should be achieving in your 20s is really trying to build your credit score. Now, this is something where I can't exactly give you a correct number, because there are different credit agencies that you might be using. And for example, if you want to buy a house, they don't just look at your credit score, they actually look at your credit report. So really, that is where your focus should be on. Now, again, I do have a detailed video that I'll link in the description below, just talking through how you can start to build your credit score. But really, the reason why you want to start building that in your 20s is because it's going to be very helpful if you're thinking about buying a house in the future and maybe you're looking to get a mortgage. But one practical goal I would say is really start to check your credit report all the time. So whether that's maybe every quarter, or maybe every other month, or maybe even every month, really start to check your report and understand and see if there are any discrepancies, because the last thing that you want to do is when it comes to you actually getting the mortgage for your house and you apply for that mortgage, if there's something that's happened in the past and that's really affected your credit report, that could actually have a major impact when it comes to applying for your mortgage. When did I take that loan out? Yeah, something's definitely not right there. So definitely check it as often as you can. The next financial goal that I think you should be achieving in your 20s is to start saving for retirement. Now guys, this is so important, especially if you do not want to be depending on the government to fund your retirement, because I definitely don't. Now, yes, you might be thinking I'm still young, I don't really have time to be thinking about retirement, but actually people end up leaving it to the last minute because they say this every single year. I'm still young, I've got years to think about retirement. Yeah, I probably should have started sooner. So please guys, do not be one of those people. And really guys, the earlier you start, the better, because you actually then have compound interest working for you. So really start to think about your retirement. For example, you may want to start contributing to your pension, especially if you have a company match. So definitely make sure you're doing your research and understanding exactly what your company is investing in, because your pensions are invested, by the way. So just make sure you're doing a bit of your research, and if you're happy with it, then keep contributing to it every single month. Now, the next financial goal that I think you should be achieving in your 20s may be a little bit controversial, but it's to actually consider who you're associating yourself with. Now, as harsh as it is, if you're hanging around with people with a poor mindset, most likely you will start to follow suit. So if you have people that maybe continue to complain about their finances, but they're not actually doing anything to help fix the problem, then you might actually start to think like that as well. So for example, if most of your friends are complaining that they never have money and they can never save money for whatever reason, but at the same time they're spending £100 every week just to go out to eat, and maybe they're even spending £2,000 on a holiday, which they've used debt to go and finance that holiday, then most likely you're probably going to have a similar mindset and follow suit. Hey, let's go to the jar this weekend. They're doing a silent disco. Great, but I haven't really budgeted for that. Don't worry, just put it on your credit card. We're going to need to eat before anyway. I don't really think I have money for that at the moment. That's what credit cards are for. Just pay off the minimum balance. You'll be fine. So really all I would say is just be careful who you're spending most of your time with. Now, I'm not saying that you completely need to cut them off, especially if it's family, but I would really just consider how much time you spend with them. The next financial goal that I think you should be working towards is actually really just to start taking risks. And this is especially important when it comes to investing. Now, am I saying to just throw all of your life savings into Bitcoin? No, of course I am not. However, I do think you can afford to take a little bit more risk in your 20s, because again, you might not have a lot of responsibilities and you probably have a lot more time on your side as well. So if you do end up making some mistakes, then you have time to actually start learning from them. And again, if you don't have many responsibilities, then this is probably the best time to make those mistakes. So again, I think this is really where you can be a bit more aggressive when it comes to investing. So whether it's in the stock market, or maybe you're even thinking about property as well. Now again, investing does have risks. You're not always guaranteed to make money, but I think if you do your due diligence, you do your research, and you've also got a long time horizon as well, you can probably afford to take that risk. Again, I'm not a financial advisor though, so I'm not actually telling you what to do. Also, if you've always thought about maybe starting a business, then now is probably the best time to do it, because again, you can probably afford to take that risk. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, and it's something that you've learned from. So again, I would probably use this time to take a bit more risk if you can. And then the next financial goal that I think you should be trying to achieve in your 20s is to actually start thinking about creating other streams of income. Now, personally for me, this is slightly new because I hadn't really thought about creating other streams of income until 2020. But since 2020, and after everything that's happened and just seeing so many people lose their jobs, I've realized that creating other streams of income is actually really, really important, because you never know what's going to happen. So whether that's a side hustle and you basically just have your main job and you maybe start thinking about doing something on the side, hopefully that will be quite a good buffer in case anything was to happen to your main job. So at least if the worst was to happen, then you wouldn't lose all of your income. Now, personally for me, I like the idea of having an online business, because I do think technology is really just where we're going in the future. So that is something that you might want to consider. So whether it's starting a YouTube channel on something you're passionate about, maybe it's a blog, maybe you start selling something, whatever it is, there's so much information online that you can really start to understand and think about what you might want to do. And I also have a video on how I actually make money from YouTube currently, so of course that will be linked in the description below for you if you want to check that out. All right, I'm doing it. I'm starting my side hustle. I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. And again, I definitely think this is something that you might want to consider in your 20s, because you may be able to afford to take that risk, particularly if you don't have that many responsibilities, because you'll probably find that you have a lot more time and energy on your hands. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, are there any other financial goals that you're working towards? I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Tuesday.